Okay, welcome everybody to another episode of the hashtag Real Talk podcast. It gives me great pleasure this week to bring one of my best friends into the studio. Okay, we should have brought him in sooner, but this guy is a popular guy and a man in demand. Okay, Mr. Joseph Bailey is in the house today.
Hey.
Welcome, Joe.
Thanks, Denzel.
Okay.
It's a pleasure being here. Like I said, it's been a while.
But we got him in.
Yeah.
We got him in. He's going to be a regular guest, I'm sure.
It's that hectic schedule.
That's it. He's living the dream. He's living the dream. We just talked about where you're going for. He's off to Dubai, so he's living a good life now. He's living a good life. So the reason that why we wanted to bring Joseph Bailey in, there's a segment that we talk about where we have the Gen Invest takeover, the hashtag Real Talk, and we talk about money and investing and things like that. But I've had a real concern for a long time now. A lot of people come up to me, Joe, and they'll talk about, I want to invest in properties, I want to make money from properties. And I'm like, you could be making so much more money if you just focused on your career. Do you know what I mean? Focus on your career, make so much money in your career, then invest. But people aren't getting it. So I wanted to bring Joseph in. Joseph is a headhunter. Okay, been in the industry. Well, actually, tell me your, what you do and how long you've been in it.
Yeah, now. Thanks. I've been in the. I've been working now for best part of 20 years now. I started my career.
You don't look old enough, bro.
Yeah, I don't. It's a cocoa butter.
Yeah, it's it.
I started my career off with a global insurance company.
Yeah.
I spent 8 years with that particular firm and really just learnt my trade. And one of the best things that I learnt with that particular company is they threw me in the deep end, so I had to do a lot of negotiating with solicitors, other insurance companies, and what that was actually doing was preparing me for the next stage in my life career, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then it was actually yourself, Denzel, who introduced me to recruitment way back.
I don't know if you hate me, but
back in 2006.
Yeah.
2006, I started in recruitment, and what I specialise in, recruiting professionals within the insurance sector.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which was really useful.
Yeah.
I understood my market, and as a result of that, I was able to hit them the ground running pretty much straight away. So I spent 3 years in that area, and then you and I worked together, didn't we?
Yeah. Fun and games, man. Fun and games. So it's financial.
And that's another story for another day. But
it.
even though that period was great as well,
you had some real success there.
Yeah, had some real success. I think it was just the three of us in the office.
Yeah,
at the time, wasn't
me,
there?
you, and Gibbo.
Three recruiters.
Oh no, and then you had Kirsty, and you brought Darren. You had your own little team there. You had a business within a business.
And excuse the terminology, but it was a bit of a one-man band.
Yeah,
or a small team.
100%.
And we went toe to toe with some national recruiters.
Yeah.
We won a big insurance account, and we made a lot of money.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of money, and then we took the leap of faith, and then we set up
IMA Recruit. Yeah,
IMA. But what we didn't have is a crystal ball at the time.
Yeah.
So we didn't see the recession looming.
Yeah.
So that kind of hit us hard. Financial services downturn. It's really tricky. And then, I guess a turning point in my career, it was I worked for a welfare to work company. Yeah. Called Ingius.
Yeah.
And I was there for 4 years. So I was working with individuals who had been out of work for a long period of time.
Oh, okay.
So individuals on job seekers allowance, health, mental disabilities, some individuals with a lot of real barriers with difficulties getting to work. So I used my recruitment experience and really just honed in on some of those softer skills. Yeah. Really understand how to engage with people, how to overcome barriers, setting that bit of a strategic career path for those individuals. Yeah. So I'm that for 4 years, had a lot of success there, and then I wanted to change. I missed the buzz of recruitment, but I wanted something different. And fortunately enough, I landed in a very exciting position with an exec search firm.
What does that mean?
Exec search is with recruitment. There's different layers of recruitment. You have contingent high street agencies. I won't name any particular companies, advertising reasons.
Yeah, that's it.
So you have your high street agency where you can walk in, you can meet a consultant, pass them your CV, they'll put you in a database or find you a job. With those recruitment agencies as well, they will pick up the phone 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Ask a particular company, do you have a vacancy? A vacancy will present itself, and they'll then literally match CV to the job
spec,
to the job spec. So that tends to be the general premise of agencies. But then it then has several branches where you have some technical recruiters, some general recruiters.
Yeah.
But what I did is I worked for a firm where they specifically retain companies.
Right.
And what that means is a company will pay a large sum of money up front for you to go into the marketplace and find the best people.
Wow.
So the best people, like yourself, Denzel, may not be looking for a job.
Yeah.
So as a headhunter,
I'm content, right?
You're content, you're happy, you're doing well, you're really successful. So a client will say, well, I want Denzel.
Yeah.
But we know he's the best, or people like Denzel is the best. So how can you? So we'll pay you this money. We'll pay you a portion up front, and we'll pay you the remainder at various stages in the process.
Right.
So as a headhunter, it's my job to reach out to you, to engage you, and really try and pull you from your position into a new position. So there's a lot of nuances, a lot of scientific elements in order to.
How do you attract someone who's comfortable
to move? And I won't go into too much detail as to how you do that, but for a company to pay a retainer, it has to be worthwhile. Yeah. So the level of salaries that I was working on for a period of about 3 years, the bottom was 70,000, right the way up to £250,000.
Wow. So say that again. So people are earning, because people talk about investment, but people are earning. Say that again.
70,000. Up to £250,000.
It's crazy.
And the type of recruitment I was responsible for was mid to senior level management. But more at a mid tier. Then you have some real big players in the exec search world where they'll headhunt candidates who earn £500,000 right up to 7 figures. So that's a different sphere. That's a different ball game. But what was really interesting working within exec search is the caliber of candidates. The level of responsibility, the focus, the drive. And I remember I was working on a particular assignment in the engineering sector, and I was looking for an operations director, and from memory I think it was probably paying about £100,000. And I remember speaking to a young guy, and no word of a lie, he was about 32 years old. 32 years old, but this guy was earning £80,000. Wow. But the job that I was recruiting for was 100,000.
Right, got it.
And as an operational manager for a manufacturing business, he was responsible for a P&L upwards of 100 million. And he was also responsible for a workforce of 1,000 people. And at that point, something clicked. Something really clicked.
I love it.
And I said, my gosh, this guy's actually running a business within a business. So he's got 1,000 people that reports into him, a P&L upwards 100 million. He is a real boss. And then, like yourself, Denzel, I've got an interest and a bit of a passion into entrepreneurship and wanting to be the next Alan Sugar. And then it dawned on me, I thought, there's a lot of people that go into business that are really brave, really passionate, but how many of those people manage a workforce of 1,000 people? How many of those people manage a P&L of 100 million pounds? But working, it's not the way forward. Running a business is the way forward. So it's a little bit controversial.
It's true. I like it.
It may even put the cat amongst the pigeons and offend some entrepreneurs. But I'm really passionate about employment because I think, well, in fact, I know employment is a stepping stone to get into self-employment. And when I was recruiting in the exec search world, a lot of senior managers, directors, MDs, they operate in that career sphere for a period of time. They retire early and then they go self-employed. Or they do the consultancy work. So these are really, really switched on individuals.
They've learned their trade.
But these guys are really clever as well, because whilst they're in an employed state, they're getting training. A lot of these guys get their MAs, their BAs paid for. So these are really, really switched on individuals.
100%.
And I guess that really changed my my outlook of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And there's something that there's a word that's batted around within the exec search world, which is called intrapreneurship.
Yeah, 100%.
So you have an entrepreneurship, but then the guys that are employed running businesses within a business in an employed state are intrapreneurs.
And I think this is why I wanted to bring you on, is because I wanted people to not overlook, because it's sexy to be an entrepreneur and it's sexy to be an investor, and I've got properties, and people have stopped seeing the potential of what you can get in a company. And I remember someone saying, you know, even when you talk about entrepreneurship, is it better to be the number one of £100,000 company or be number 20 at Facebook?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're still an employee.
Yeah, certainly rather the latter to be.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the key things that you know you mentioned, and we talk about headhunting, you know, and you think, you know, we've got a workforce out there, you know, but people are hiring you to find good caliber candidates. Is it still a difficulty then to find good people? And are people prepared to pay over the odds, prepared to pay more than market rate to do what it is to find good people? Is that why you've got people like yourself in executive search?
Yeah, I mean, there is good people are always out there.
Yeah.
And I guess with anything, the opportunity has to be right for that individual.
Yeah.
And sometimes it isn't always a hard line in terms of a monetary element in order for an individual to move. So there's different elements that will attract different people to move for different reasons. But there's always good people in the marketplace. And I think in order to identify those good people, I think what's really important, which is quite similar to business, is relationships. Networks. You have to have a real strong network, but as a recruiter as well, and as an entrepreneur, your personal brand needs to be credible. You have to be an ethical recruiter, as well as you have to be an ethical businessman in order for people to trust you, to buy into what you're offering. And I think that's really, really important. I mean, there's some real basics in recruitment, no doubt. Some individuals watching this may have experienced some interaction with a recruiter, i.e. applying for a job, never getting a call back, going for an interview.
Yeah, so we'll talk about some of that. That's a really good point, because I want to talk about how do you work with a recruiter to get a recruiter to be on your side. But we'll talk about that. But carry on. So I want to touch on that. Yeah.
So some of those things. I mean, as a recruiter, if you're well and you do the basics well, people will trust you. People will refer you. People will recommend you. And as a candidate, because of a lot of misconceptions and a lot of apprehension about the marketplace, some good people are really reluctant to share their details, their CVs with recruiters,
just in case it goes round,
or they don't get represented in the right way. So to find good people, they're always out there, but it's all about, you have to be established, and more importantly as well, you need to know your market. So here's the thing that I wanted to find out is,
I'm someone, and I really believe in this, and the reason I say this is that I remember a guy called Neil Kavanagh saying to me at a young age, earn your age. So when I was 26, I earned 26. When I was 30, I earned 30. When I was 40, I earned 40. And then I started to surpass that. But what I wanted to show people is that companies are prepared to pay you if you're valuable to them. That it's out there, because I want people to see that, if you work hard, there's money to be made. And hopefully, even from the thing that you said about, a 32-year-old, earning potentially, was on 80,000, going on to potentially on a basic with bonuses and things like that. So I wanted people to see that, companies are using your organizations to find the very best talent. And so if you work on your talent, the pool of money's out there.
And I remember a colleague making a really powerful statement to me not so long ago. It says, an employee will pay you for what you know. The more you know, the more valuable you are.
Wow, powerful. And love that. Say that again. Sometimes, people can say something and you're listening in the car and that may just go over your head, but I want to say that because that is powerful.
So people will pay you for what you know.
Perfect.
It's as simple as that. The more you know, the more valuable you are to a company, the more that you can add value to a company. So it increases your stock worth. And I think regardless of where you are in your career, whether you are that entry-level administrator, it doesn't mean that you're not valuable and you don't know. If anything, you can add to your game. You can learn more, or you can be the best at whatever level you are. But people will pay you for what you know.
So if I'm someone now, and I'm, as you said, and I can give some examples what we've done internally in our own company when I was a director of a company. But what are recruiters looking for then? So a company comes to you and they say, Joe, I'm looking for this type of candidate. What's the kind of things outside of they must have experience in this particular field? Because one of the things I truly believe is that you can have the expertise, but then there's something else that's making people more valuable in the market, in my personal opinion. But you're the expert, so this is what we got you on the show.
Great question. I think the technical elements of a job. I mean, my current role at the moment as a recruiter, I've since left the exec search world, and I now work for a leading global automotive manufacturer. And within my role, there's a lot of technical elements that an individual must be able to do. I work in an area called electrical engineering, so it's all the fancy gizmos and features in a car that can ultimately allow the car to drive itself. So these engineers need to be able to do the basics. But I remember a manager saying to me last year, he says, Joe, look, the technical elements are great, but it's more the behaviorals.
Right.
It's the softer skills. So I want to know what an engineer would do, or what a candidate would do in the midst of adversity. How do you bounce back from failure? How do you handle rejection? How do you go the extra mile? What are you doing outside of work to add value to your own status?
Powerful.
So it's all the extra curriculum behavioral aspects that an employer is now looking for.
So so you had your IQ, but now you're talking about EQ, like emotional intelligence.
Correct.
So what you're saying now, and this hopefully gives hope to a lot of people who are watching this, you're saying, well, how do I increase, and you mentioned the word stock value. Well, one of the things you can work on is how well do you handle problems? Are you a problem solver? Are you a good networker? Are you a good people person? Are you a good contributor? All these things you can learn outside of university and work on yourself. So when people are looking, so let me ask you a question. Is that something that should be on someone's CV then? So if you're looking to increase your stock, it shouldn't just be degrees and things like that. What should I also have on my CV? And let's give them some practicals that help them to be out there as well, to stand out from the crowd.
I think on a CV, you certainly should have your personal profile, list your key skills, but also break it between your soft skills and your hard skills. So your soft skills are your behavioural skills. Right. Okay. I'm a good communicator, and I've got good presentation skills. Your hard skills are more your technical skills. Right. I.e., I can do coding. I can do. I'm a good project manager. So those are your hard skills. Within a good CV, what I'm also looking as well is for some real key achievements. And really, really, really show off about some of your key achievements. Really go to town.
Okay.
If you're in a target, and everybody works in a target-oriented environment. It's not just salespeople, even administrators, even customer service.
How many calls do you take?
Absolutely. So really highlight your targets. Really show the employer how driven you are and how you've exceeded your target. And I think a CV coupled together with a covering letter can really give some real prime examples as to how you've achieved your targets, how you've delivered great skills.
So what does a cover letter usually have in it? What type of, so I've got my CV where I've worked and some highlights and soft and hard skills and things like that. The cover letter, what does that usually cover then? Is that where you can be more personal, or?
A cover letter, it will really just allows you the opportunity to really demonstrate your interest for a particular role. And also then marry your experience, your IQ experience and your EQ experience to that particular job, and really informing the hiring manager as to how you can add value. And that's the whole purpose of a covering letter, is to really just to demonstrate and give some real examples as to how you can add value.
Perfect. Now, one of the things we talked about is obviously the CV. We know that the market's out there. But what about in interviews? Now, I've heard the statistic, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong here, that an employer or the recruiter can make their mind up in the first 5 minutes.
Correct.
As soon as you've walked in the room, they've already gauged in the first couple of minutes.
Correct.
Okay, so how do I win? So I found this ideal job. It's got a promotion of £5,000. You know, I'm getting a pay increase. It's the one I want.
Yeah.
And I've walked in. Obviously, the reason that they brought you in for an interview because you meet the criteria.
Yeah.
How do I make that impact in the first 5 minutes? To be able to get my foot in the door.
Another great question. The first things first is just do the basics well.
Oh, okay.
Make sure you turn up on time.
Yeah.
Make sure you're dressed appropriately.
Yeah.
Make sure you shake the hand. Make sure there's good eye contact. Those are the basics.
Right. That makes
some real basics.
Nothing worse than rushing in and people.
Absolutely.
I've seen that.
And ensure that you understand what the company does that you're applying for.
Yeah.
Again, real basics. I mean, even at the level that I recruit for, you'll be surprised the number of senior directors that don't do their homework, that take things for granted.
Wow.
And unfortunately, the interview feedback is quite alarming.
Yeah.
That an individual doesn't do the basics well.
At those levels.
Yeah. And I think also as well is reading your interviewer.
Yeah.
So if your interviewer, like you and I do in Denzel, we're using a lot of hand gestures to sometimes mirror your interviewer.
Oh, okay.
If they're speaking slow your pace down.
Yeah.
If they're speaking fast, it's just little things like that. I think the other thing as well is prepare.
Yeah.
Is really prepare your answers. So think about a number of questions that will present itself.
Yeah.
Why should I hire you? Can you give me an example where you gave good customer service?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example where you didn't do too well in a particular task?
Yeah.
So kind of
what's your weakness? What's your strengths?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To kind of preempt some of the answers to questions that will present itself.
Yeah.
And there's also when you give an answer in interviews, there's something that we use the STAR methodology, which you'll know.
Yep.
Which you'll know, but it's something specific, a task, an action, and a result. So you have to give an answer with some real substance. Talk about a situation. Talk about what you did in that task.
Yeah.
What was the action? What was the outcome? Sometimes when you're delivering an answer, you've got to be careful of some of the words that you use.
Oh, okay.
I.e., if there's a lot of we done this, and into them. So what did you do?
Ah, that's powerful.
Yeah. And if there's a lot of I.
Yeah.
Again, so where's the
team? This is a team.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there has to be a lot of balance in some of the answers that you deliver to a particular employee. But equally, the whole purpose of the whole premise of an interview is you selling your skill set or making the employer aware of your skill set. But equally, your job is to interview them.
Oh, I love that. Oh, okay, yeah. I love that. You don't hear that a lot.
Yeah. So, and I guess there's a huge misconception around, well, if I go for an interview, I need to be on point and I need to deliver and I need to, but equally, if the interviewer hasn't prepared, if the company doesn't meet your expectation, because sometimes what you're sold or what you see online or even by a recruiter when you actually go to the company may be a huge mismatch. So when you're there as an individual, you need to know your worth. Yeah. You need to know your stock value. You need to ask yourself, well, granted the money's good, however, put the money aside. Can this role help get me where I need to get to?
100%.
And if it doesn't, then why go for it? You also need to look at your personal lifestyle. I.e., if a role requires you to be there from 8 till 6 o'clock, and
does that work?
And you've got a family, you've got to get the little one from school. Does that work? Just because it's paying £5,000-10,000 over what you normally earn, does it make sense?
Oh, okay.
Because if you go for it, what will potentially happen is that you'll be unhappy, you won't perform, and you're just wasting everybody's time. And
I think one of the things that I like when people are coming to our company and they've asked me, well, what's the training like? I'm like, wow, this guy is really switched on, and he seems passionate, and that's I wanted to lead to that. I really believe, I like it when people come in with confidence and passion. Like they've already started to bowl me over, and I'm like, I'm already, erring to the side of, and I know it's difficult because people might say, yeah, but you're an extrovert, I'm an introvert. But do you believe that still, regardless if you're introvert, or extrovert, that passion needs to come across?
Absolutely.
Like an excitement for the role, excitement to work there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because people buy from people.
Yeah.
And you have to be, if you're not passionate about the work that you're about to do, then why do? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Because I guess even in customer service, if you're not passionate about playing a customer service role, a customer service individual is probably the most important person in the whole entire business. Sometimes not even the MD, because you're the first person that a potential external customer will interact with. So you have to be passionate about everything that you do.
Perfect. I love that. And just to give you an example on that, I know in our company we took a girl called Nicola, an amazing girl who worked on our customer service, and we could see something in her from what she did on the telephone. Now you imagine she may have started on, I can't remember exact salary, maybe let's say 18,000 or something like that. Now she's earning considerably more than that now, with a company car, with bonuses, okay, all because we saw something, as you said, that level of passion at customer service. And sometimes someone may not even have the qualifications or have the exact itinerary that I'm looking for, but if they've got something like passion and drive and hunger, I think to myself, as an employer, I can work with that. Do you find that from companies as well, that sometimes someone who may not meet all the criteria, but they've just got this, or do you meet people and you think, do you know what, I could do something with you?
Absolutely. I think the intangibles are difficult to train.
I like that. The intangibles.
So passion, drive, hunger, creativity. You can't train somebody to be creative. You can perhaps put some elements in place in order to perhaps raise your awareness how to be creative or how to be passionate, but ultimately you either have it or you don't have that. But in terms of how to sell a particular product, you can teach somebody to sell that. If they've got the raw ingredients, like you said, I can see something there.
Something in there.
And sometimes that's enough for an individual to be successful in a particular role.
Perfect. Now look, you've been dropping obviously some great advice, but as we come to the end of the podcast, I really believe at the moment this is still very much an employee-led market. What I mean by that is that there is still loads of opportunities out there that I see, but there's a candidate shortage.
Absolutely.
Which means that you can command more in the market now if you're really good. Is that are we right in that market? Because I know sometimes it can change.
You're absolutely right. I think that it is an employee-led market. There is a skill shortage within certain sectors. I mean, I can only speak confidently about the sector which I work in. I mean, I recruit within the automotive space, and recruiting electrical engineering engineers are in a real demand. So this particular company, they've exhausted the local hub. They've exhausted the national hub, so now they're forced to recruit overseas.
Wow.
So they pay a lot of money to fly in an individual and their family from places like India, Turkey,
it's incredible,
Brazil, because there's a real
amazing
shortage. And the other great thing about being an employee as opposed to starting life as an entrepreneur, when you work for a company, sometimes you can see elements that need to be improved, or see processes where there's perhaps areas of improvement.
Come on.
And you can actually use that, step outside the company, improve that service, and launch your own business, for example.
On the back of that.
But one of the things that we've seen is that there's a lack of diversity within certain skill sets. Now, I know in engineering there's a huge drive on women in engineering. And within engineering, in certain elements, there's a huge question mark around, well, the BAME community. Why isn't enough BAME engineers coming through the pipeline? And this is stepping outside of my professional remit. It's just stepping at, as looking at it from a parental perspective. Is I had a conversation with my son, and naturally certain individuals gravitate. I want to be a business. I want to be a footballer. I want to be a movie star. All the obvious tick box careers. But if you ask somebody, do you want to be an engineer? That's kind of deemed a non-attractive job.
It's not as sexy.
It's not as sexy. And I think sometimes there's a huge misconception around engineering. I think sometimes engineering can be regarded as a bit of a blue-collar type job, a dirty job, or an unskilled job. I recruit engineers, and some of these engineers earn 6 figures.
Oh wow!
Some of these engineers can wear their t-shirts, their Timberland boots, they live.
It's cool. It's a cool role. Yeah.
But I think where I'm going with this is, I think also as well, recruiters or recruitment companies, I think should really start to engage with communities better. Yeah. And really reach out to the next generation. Yeah. And really kind of earmark and showcase where the emerging markets are coming through. Oh, okay. Because if the next generation aren't aware of the emerging markets or what that looks like or how attractive that could be, then there could be that repetitive behaviour where we're not going into certain areas
and we're missing out on all those opportunities,
and hence there's a skill shortage. So we're coming from. So, and
I love what you're saying is, you know, and that's a great point that you just made there, Joe. Is that like if you're someone who's on 20,000, you're unhappy with your career, research what are the emerging markets, because Joe just said is that global brands have exhausted their local markets, and because that shortage is not there, are going to India and places like that and bringing people over. Well, if you had those key skills, they'd be paying you. Yeah,
I'll give you an example. I mean, my current employer, for I'll probably say a junior engineer, the salary banding is, where are we? Probably about 32,000 to about 44,000 for an engineer, but for certain roles there's a skill shortage. So this particular company is prepared to sponsor a foreign national, pay a visa, but if that engineer in, for argument's sake, India has a family of 4, then this particular company will pay for a visa for the husband, the wife, and his 2 children. Wow! So that visa cost, you're looking at upwards of £20,000. Wow! Plus the relocation of relocating the family over. So before the individual starts, that's £30,000 just on one person. Gone. Now there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of these jobs of these individuals. With the right skill set, who are in high demand, and a local employer, even as a business person, would you pay if you could save £30,000? Would you do that? Yeah, 100%, 100%. Okay, and I think with a lot of companies now, it's doing that educational piece. It's educating the next generation as to where the emerging markets are, where the skills short, the school, and kind of incentivizing in some way to get those talent coming through. Come on, well, do you know? I really believe, you know, the reason that we do these podcasts is to inspire, motivate, and empower, and I think that we really, you know, I'm inspired. Do you know what I mean? And you said some great points. I learned to be an entrepreneur in business. I became an MD of a company in business, learned what it is to run a business, marketing the products. So I think you're 100% right there. And I think more and more people, before you talk about being an entrepreneur, go and work for a company and learn your trade first. I think the other thing that you're saying is go and get trained, find out where the opportunities are. You know, not only on your IQ, what you're saying is, well, go and work on, I'm just trying to highlight some of the things that you said, you've been dropping some dimes, you know, is also work on your EQ. You know, work on your personality, you know, so many people don't understand that your character can get you another 10 grand pay rise. Correct. That's so possible. Okay. And then find out what's out there. And I know you said that employers, and we're hoping that more and more employers will do that, but also take the responsibility to find out on Google, where are the jobs? And if you're not happy with your industry, change it. Go out there and make it, you know. So as you said, no, I think we've just opened up, like, you know, being an employer can get you to be earning millions of pounds. You know, you talk about earning 100 grand a year, 10 years, you've earned £1 million. You know, most people think you can only be that as an entrepreneur. You know, let me show you something. I was going to touch on a point that Joe mentioned. I speak to so many entrepreneurs who are not business owners. They're just self-employed. And self-employed means that you have a job with no benefits. Correct. That's all it means. Okay, you have a job with no sick pay, no holiday pay, no bonuses, no Christmas party. Okay, so it's the worst place to be. So unless you're thinking about building a big business, I would get a job. I would. I'm just being honest. So that's why I wanted to do this video. So hopefully, you know, people will go out and go, right, okay, how do I take my career to the next level? So if there was some key points, if people only listen to the last part of this video, okay, or the last part of this podcast, what's the 1-2 things that you'd say to someone who's looking to develop their career and move forward? As you was talking, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And regardless of where you are, create a plan. And we'll touch on perhaps an individual starting at the entry level. There are a lot of young people that will start in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So restaurants, bars. Some young people may even work within the warehouse industry.
Yeah.
In fact, as a freebie, supply chain and logistics is in the top 3 largest revenue generators for the country. It's a massive industry, multi-billion pound industry, but working in the warehouses, it's not desirable. So where I'm going with this is, if you start within a warehouse, learn about the business. Skills that you have that you're acquiring when you're stacking those boxes on the shelf. Think about, well, I'm stacking these boxes. It's hard work. Is there a better way that we can do this? The lorries that are coming in, there seems to be a delay. Imagine if the lorries could come in a little bit easier. So when you're working in at a low-level job, it's learn the industry, learn what's going outside the industry, and apply yourself. Also, as well, there's a lot of transferable skills. So I think, for me personally, I think one of the greatest industries for anybody to work is hospitality. The
people skills. Come on now.
People skills.
I so agree.
People skills. It may not be your end goal. It may be a means to an end, but the skills that you acquire at starting point A can certainly direct you in the right direction. Another thing as well is understand where you want to be. And work backwards. If you want to be an MD of a pharmaceutical company, what do you need to be that MD? Work backwards. And also as well, create a target list of companies that you want to work for. Be proactive in your career. Be proactive in your application. Don't be reactive. Don't sit and wait for you to see a job and then apply. So what do I mean by that? If you want to work within pharmaceuticals, identify all the top pharmaceuticals in your area or the country, reach out to them, send them a letter, pick up the phone, use LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a powerful tool.
Okay, little bonus there for you guys. LinkedIn.
Link in with people who are doing the job that you want to do, or even link into people who are doing the job that you're doing now, and ask them, well, what do you do in your job? What does a typical day look like? And how can I do what you do?
Wow. So love that.
Network. LinkedIn's powerful. So create a target list. Don't be disheartened as to where you are. Have a goal, have a strategy.
Love that.
Pretty much like business. Being an employee, there's so many similar transferable traits like the business world.
Love that. Joe, thank you so much. I just want to leave you guys with some points. There was so much content, and I would actually say to you to listen to this podcast at least 3-4 times, because if you do what Joe is saying, okay, you can take your career to the next level. I truly believe that. There's 2 things that I would just add to that as well is Joe mentioned people skills, and I think that's one of the key things that you need. But I'd also say, if you're struggling to know where to go in your career, get a sales role, because it is the most high in demand. Like, every company needs salespeople. I don't care, no matter what you're doing, if you've got no qualifications, you're not educated, learn how to sell. Because Joe said a really important part. When you go to an interview, you're selling yourself. Correct. So even if you only learn how to sell so you can improve your career, learn what does it take to sell yourself. Joe has done incredibly well through selling. Great achievement. The other thing I'd say as well, and this is something that I did in my career, and I came out of school with no GCSEs and I became an MD of a multi-million-pound business. I always said to myself, and my dad said this is my wise words from Mr. John Edmead, so I'm bigging him up now here, Dad. Okay, he always said to me, never work in the job that you're working now, work as if you've got the job that you really want.
I remember you saying that
to me. So when I was like, I remember, being a pool attendant or a lifeguard, and I was cleaning the toilets, thinking, I kept on saying to myself, work as if you're the supervisor. Then I said, I want to work like I'm in the gym. So I'll go into the gym and I'll be in the gym, my breaks, and I'll be learning what they did, what's your qualifications, everything that you said. So I always work one level ahead of where I really wanted to be to demonstrate. So when that opportunity came up, I was ready. I didn't wait for someone to give me the experience. I was going to go and get that experience. So when the opportunity came, I was ready. So listen, you know, once again, don't worry about being an entrepreneur right now. Don't worry about being an investor. Go out there and smash it in your career. Listen to this podcast and, you know, please hit us up. I would love to hear how in the next year you took your career from 20,000 to 25, from 25 to 50. I believe if someone listens to this today, that will happen in your life. I truly believe that. So God bless you. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you for the next #Real Talk podcast. Remember to subscribe, like on iTunes and SoundCloud. You can also see Gen TV on YouTube to watch this video as well. So God bless you and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Smashed it, bro. That was awesome.